Well, they have Peel this game.
Oh my goodness gracious. If they did this, I would lose it.
Oh, no! Okay, fine.
The suffering begins for Monte Cristo.
Cassiopeia, so high damage composition here. They're going to be looking to kite very heavily. Combined with the Tahm Kench, the mobility is absolutely nuts from SK Telecom, so they will be able to collapse very quickly if anyone on Jin is out of position.
Not really the prototypical person to bring along with the Tahm Kench. I guess maybe Evelynn is the closest thing there, but certainly not the Quinn.
So Bengi actually getting collapsed on here in his own jungle. Will be found by Winged, and Trey's gonna flash over, and that's the huge damage of Graves these days if you hit both sides of that Q. Nice job from Winged and Trace on the invade early.
So we've seen Bengi play 3 games so far and die twice at his blue buff at 4 minutes.
Very
They're
true.
not done.
And Faker the next target here. They're going to try and dive this. Exhaust now down onto Wing. Faker trying to get out, and he's not going to live. Kuzan gets the ignite and barely lives through that. Faker used his exhaust but not his flash. Meanwhile, Jin trading favorably in the bottom lane as they find themselves up 1,000 gold at 4 minutes.
Welcome back to Champions, the double world champions. You're both dead.
You calm down there.
All right.
All right, so Trace going to be trading with Duke once again. Winged is here, and Cocoon going to stop Duke for the time being, and Duke is the next to fall. Winged finishing up the kill, and Trace kiting, and Winged now on a big roll through the jungle.
It's crazy.
All right, here we go. Wing coming in again. Faker's going to drop the ultimate. Kuzan's going to land the slow. Faker eats some oranges to get out, trading flash for flash. And
he can farm from range so easily. Chei probably needs to ult at this point.
I think he'll be all right. Gonna dodge out. Pilot Arcane Shifts takes a little bit more of that damage. So you're going to try and push him forward. Duke now trying to get out. Does miss the Cocoon. Jin so much damage from Trace. Just explodes him.
Well, there's Graves for you.
Well, also that challenging smite too.
Kuzan is super overextended.
Yeah, and there's the Faker's Gangplank ult coming in. Bengi here. Winged is here though. He's going to stop up Bengi at least for the moment and try and run interference. Challenging smite down once again. There's Faker coming through with his exhaust, but Chei is here, and he is huge. Faker now on the run, and he is just not going to, well, barely make it out inside Wolf, but gets chased down by Winged. Wolf now the next target. Where's Chei's pulverized? There it is. Kuzan now wants another one.
And Jin are routing SKT.
Yeah, 7-0 now in favor of Jin as they are going to push through this mid lane. And that Graves band looking much more attractive as time goes on. They'll have a bitter pill to swallow if they're going to lose game number 2 with their starting lineup. Dragon number 1 at 13 minutes to Jin. Duke is in that brush. He saw him enter it. And Bengi actually avoided that Q damage.
They don't know Elise is here.
They don't know Elise is here. And Elise is very strong. She's 4-0-3. Duke gets opened up on by the collateral damage. They find Bengi! Accidentally, it looked like. And now Duke, I am sorry, Duke. Trace is massive, and he is here to shotgun you into the ground. And Trace now, he's moving forward. Duke, of course, chewing his gum in the booth, not looking too impressed with that play. And now here comes turret number 2 for the Jin GREENWINGS. Yeah, why not indeed. Add a little bit more crowd control for yourself. Kuzan now going to get ulted. Will he be the first death of the game? Jin, he is going to get killed. That is a shutdown for Faker, but Faker the fall as well. Wing now trying to get out of there as everyone seemingly in that mid lane. There's the True Shot Barrage hitting over the top. Trace now exhausted the second one, and that's another big shutdown onto Wing by Duke. So an important comeback, but they are still more than 5,000 gold behind. Or not. Now they're going to try and collapse onto Duke. Bengi's going to get Bengi's just going to get shot. Bengi, you can't do that. Trace is huge.
Disrespect, honestly. Took a really direct path. Could have gone defensively through lane like he'd done multiple times and got his just dessert. Basically a moving ward.
Yes.
Area for this new Jin
Here we
lineup.
go, and they're going to use the TP immediately. Duke has his TP as well, but there's no vision, and they can do this Baron so quickly.
3,000 health.
but they're getting very low themselves from trying to take it. Jin Air's going to try and disengage, but there's a bullet time, not going to get a kill. Chei is going to have to sacrifice himself, tries to flash out,
Baron's
but the
low.
Baron's still low. Are they going to get it? SK Telecom has a chance to turn this game around. No! Winged comes in with the smite to pick up the Baron. Jin Air get it anyway, but can they escape with their lives? That's 2 down for Jin Air. Duke still trying to pursue this smoke screen, trying to just disengage right now as best they can. Wolf going to come in with an Abyssal Voyage. Duke gets the ult to finish off the kill onto Chei. Jin Air escape with 2. They killed Bengi. Jin Air now trying to go for Faker. Faker going to flash out, but it's one less summoner spell he has. Whoops. Ooh, that wasn't good.
Wasn't Wei Zhao's here on the cross-map pushing of the ult, which means that Duke's going to get, at minimum, a lot of damage. Trace is racing there, though.
Yeah, Trace is coming in. Does have that home guard at this
Hasn't been spotted.
stage of the game. Duke is going to get 1v1, and that damage is enormous. Flash, Steric's Gauge, pop for Duke, and this is not a very exciting duel. Oh, he misses, actually. Nope. It doesn't matter in the end. The 1v1, too much coming in tonight. And Pilot actually, huge chunk courtesy of Faker. Pilot actually has to cast his heal just to get out of that situation.
Here comes Trace.
And there's Faker getting bounced around, and he just falls. Bullet time. Just going to be a little bit of tickling here as Kuzan comes over the wall. They want to get Bang right now, but Wing going to flash forward. They cocoon Wolf in the end.
Losing turrets though at the same
And
time.
Wolf is going to fall too. Now they do lose a turret. Wolf is, or actually Duke rather, is on the split pushing mission, but they're trading evenly at the very least. And with 2 members down, you'd think this is going to be an inhibitor. Trace is recalling just to prevent Duke from doing more damage to Jin Air's base. And here comes inhibitor number 1 at about 30 minutes.
And Trace has teleport himself to match Duke's teleport if anything changes. Duke's backing away, so he's not even going to get this inner turret. He's certainly going to have to run away from Trace.
And that's SKT needs to back up. That is not a good use of Gangplank Gold Faker.
First competitive game on Gangplank. It hasn't really been about Faker, but hasn't been covered in glory like his other champion debuts.
Yeah, there we go. Trace going to take down the last, or the second rather, inhibitor turret. Winged, very heavily damaged. Play a champion like Kindred anyway. He's just not that kind of player.
I completely agree with you. So you need to find a backup control jungler. Where's the Lee Sin?
Yeah, I think the Lee Sin was definitely a better choice.
Yeah, such a big mana pool. Doesn't cost a lot to queue, but infinite here, and the mirror mana can just stay toggled.
And there we go, another GP ult coming through, but it just doesn't do anything. Wing clears out the barrel, and that'll be a little bit wide on the True Shot barrage. They have to be careful. Wing falling relatively low. More zoning coming in. Chei decides now is the time. Duke is punched forward. Duke falls to Pilot, and now they take that final inhibitor. So the zones were down, and that meant it was time to push the go button for Jin Air.
Winged literally pooped on mid, top, and jungle. And those 3 members at the start of this game, and those 3 people are Faker, Bengi, and Duke. You can't do better.
Yeah, you can't. He has just hit the jackpot tonight, and whether that was his skill or entirely accidental, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, Baron's dead.
Yeah, goodbye, Baron. So Baron taken, not really a reason to do anything that is risky.
Taking this inhibitor makes the 5th dragon so much easier to get. You have super minions pushing in the diametrically opposite lane. So
2 minutes until dragon now. And Faker has to flash. And Trace is going to just destroy him. And Faker gets saved in the last second by Wolf. Nice bullet time, actually. Trace is alone, but he has the GA. Ooh, boys, getting close. Let's see the GA spawn, and Trace just going to quick draw out. Does have a lot of life steal, however. Bit of an overcommitment there. Nice save on Faker by Wolf. He probably just saved that game.
But Jin Air went all in when they didn't need to and almost paid a very heavy price.
So can they finish off this last remaining inhibitor? They have this cannon minion. It only needs a couple more shots. There it's going to fall.
Given the control they already have over Dragon.
Here we go, pushing it down, and they're just going to finish it off through the Make It Rain. So here we go. And there we go. They finally decide to use the GPL. Chei just going to disengage. It's a lot of damage, though. He has to use his ultimate right now. Trace gets one of the Nexus turrets. Dragon is live, so Jin Air doesn't have to push this. They can back off if they want to. Duke going to get wrapped up by a cocoon and then taken out. There's the bullet time, but it's not going to get any kills. Trace now just going to use his E to disengage. Well, I think you have to go for this, but it's just going to fall so damn fast. And before they even get there,
They gave up.
yeah, that's going to be the final dragon for Jin Air. They're at number 5. They lose another Nexus turret in the interim. Well,
And
that was removed by Jin Air, so.
Exactly. And now they're looking for the win.
And they are. Bengi goes down to about a third HP immediately. Inhibitor back up. They're going to take this one down first, as methodical as can be. They want this 2-0 over SK Telecom. Naked Inhibitor. They just have to clear out these minion waves. Wade dealing up poke damage. Chei gonna go in though. Duke on the side. Trace is there. He is blinded. Duke gonna make it out with the help of Hysterics Gauge, but Wolf falls, and that's gonna be it. They
Jin
take
Air
down the
GREENWINGS
Nexus.
win.
And Jin Air with the 2-0. What an unlikely situation coming in tonight. Jin Air comes up with a huge win.
It continues and ends a week of 2-0 wins, but who would have penciled in Jin Air GREENWINGS 2-0 sweeping SK Telecom?